What is up, Pats Nation? It is Patriots Global back here with another video, and today we're going to be talking about three major issues that the Patriots need to fix before training camp. Now, these are in no specific order, so the first one is the pass rush. Now, a lot of you guys, well, not a lot, but at least some of you guys are going to disagree with this one, but it is very, very true. In my last video, when I included defensive tackle Allen Bailey in free agents that the Patriots should still sign, mainly for his sole purpose in pass rush, there were some of you guys that disagreed. There was one person that actually said, no, they don't need Allen Bailey. They don't need another pass rusher. The Patriots are fine at pass rush and have a lot of good edge rushers. And yes, they do have some good edge rushers. They do have, Dietrich Wise. They have Michael Bennett. They have Chase Winovich, who should do pretty good with the Patriots. But it comes down to way more than just edge defenders. And of course, let's not forget that the Patriots lost their best pass rusher, their leading sack specialist in Trey Flowers this offseason to the Detroit Lions from a defense that already had a hard time actually getting to the quarterback for many years. The Pats ranked 7th in points allowed last year, but had just 30 sacks. That doesn't usually mesh, but Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots somehow made it work. Now, Flowers had 7.5 of those 30 sacks, but like I said, he is now gone, and he was someone who the Patriots really did use a lot. What a lot of people don't understand is that the Patriots did not have a top-tier pass rushing defense last year. Okay, they didn't. They were not one of the best in the league. They were not elite at it. They were very inconsistent. But the thing is that the Patriots pass rush showed up at times, and it showed up when it needed to. For example, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, really when it mattered. But the Patriots also lost some games because the defense could not get to the quarterback. For example, the Titans game, a game that should not have been lost. The Pats have added a lot of new guys. I mean, again, they added Michael Bennett, they added Chase Winovich, they added Jamie Collins, and you can make the argument that he's been here before, but it's been a little while since he's been here, so it is going to have to be an adjustment. And then you have Dietrich Wise, who is still seriously fighting to find where he fits on the Patriots defense. The Patriots have an elite secondary, easily top 10 in the league. You can't even argue that. But they're going to have trouble doing their thing if they are having to cover guys for multiple amount of seconds. And there's going to be people that comment, well, they're all pro. This is an elite secondary. They have to do their job and cover. And I do agree, but at the same time, you try covering guys like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas for 10 seconds. It's without a doubt that the Patriots secondary is already there, so really the biggest hole and the biggest question mark is, can the Patriots establish a consistent pass rush for the first time in a very long time? If they can get all the pieces put together, if everybody can find their niche, if everyone can find their role that they are going to have on this defense and how they're going to use each of their guys, whether that's Chase Winovich, Michael Bennett, Dietrich Wise, Adam Butler, whoever that may be, then the Patriots defense is going to be stellar. That is just a huge question mark that has to be figured out. So the next question is going to be the offensive line. Now, you might be asking yourself, why did I say offensive line? Why did I not just say left tackle? Because there's really no question marks except for the left tackle position. And that's because of some stuff that we have seen Bill Belichick doing both in OTAs and training camp. So obviously the number one storyline when it comes to, the Patriots in general, but more specifically the Patriots offensive line, is Isaiah Wynn, the left tackle, former first-round pick that had a season-ending injury and still has not come back. Where does he stand? Is he going to be ready for the start of the season? And even if he is, do the Patriots just fully push him in there? As of right now, the Patriots are not really using Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn sat out for most of minicamp and OTAs. He did come on the field and did a little bit of stuff, but nothing serious. And keep in mind, it was not contact. Minicamp and OTAs are not contact. With that being said, who took over his spot? Now, you might think that it would be someone that the Patriots signed whether it was the draft or it was free agency, whether that's Yannick Adjust or whether that's Cedric Lane. But no, they didn't. They decided to go with left guard Joe Thuney. And Joe Thuney did play tackle in college, and the Patriots know that. The Patriots have seen Thuney play a lot for their team throughout the multiple years he's been with us, so they know how to utilize him. So let's for a second say that Isaiah Wynn is not ready for the start of the regular season, and the Patriots decide to go with left guard Joe Thuney. Then Joe Thuney is playing left tackle, and keep in mind, the last time Thuney played tackle was years and years ago, and he wasn't even elite at it. He is more of a guard than he is a tackle. So truly for me there, I don't know how comfortable I am with Joe Thuney actually playing left tackle. Now, I think Joe Thuney playing left tackle is better than someone like Cedric Lane, but it is still not ideal. But the biggest part is that leaves a gap open at left guard. Now, you could say that they put in newly drafted guard Yoda Froholt that they recently got, but the big thing with that is that he is a rookie. Okay, we haven't heard anything about him. He isn't practicing with the first team starters, so you're kind of asking for a lot. Then you don't have just one area of concern. You are asking now for two areas of concern, both at left tackle and left guard, which is going to be really hard to keep Brady safe. Because if you think about it, if you don't have Joe Thuney move to left tackle, then you have your elite offensive line with everyone else. You have Joe Thuney at left guard, David Andrews at center, Shaq Mason at right guard, and then Marcus Cannon at right tackle. But again, if you're mismatching that, then you have two areas of concern rather than just one. So all in all, it's just a really big question at offensive line. If Isaiah Wynn is not ready to go, the Patriots need to do something at left tackle if Isaiah Wynn isn't ready to go, and at this point, it will have to be via trade. The most important thing is keeping Tom Brady safe. That is the most needed thing, because one wrong hit, one little injury could peg Tom Brady for the rest of his career, and we could see the last of Tom Brady if they don't keep him protected. And the third biggest issue that the Patriots have that they need to fix for training camp is going to be the tight end position. Now, of course, this is something we've talked about a lot, and I thought the Patriots were okay with tight end a little while back, but then we hear that Austin Seferian-Jenkins gets released. Then we hear Ben Watson is suspended for the first 4 games, and that really leaves you with one guy starting for the first 4 games, and that's Matt LaCosse. And of course, Matt LaCosse, he's doing good. He has a lot of potential, but we haven't seen him play in pads. We haven't actually seen him play in a regular game. We haven't really seen necessarily the connection between him and Tom Brady. So to plug him in as the day one starter and really the only tight end for the first 4 weeks is asking a lot. I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again because it is just that important. But Tom Brady himself has said this before in an interview during minicamp, basically just saying that the Patriots need their tight ends this season. A lot of teams, when they're missing a certain position, they try to compensate. Whether they're missing wide receivers, they try to compensate at tight end. If they are missing tight ends, they try to compensate at wide receiver. And a lot of people thought that that's what the Patriots were doing. They're stacking up at wide receiver, so many people expected the Patriots to be trying to compensate for tight end with the wide receiver position. But no, that's not the Patriots. That's not what they're doing. And Tom Brady himself has said that New England needs their tight ends. He needs them to show up for this offense to run smoothly and efficiently. Now, of course, you have a couple of other tight ends to watch. Of course, you have undrafted signing Andrew Beck. There's some people out there that feel like he could possibly make the roster. He's someone that I think I actually want to make a video on. You have someone like Ryan Izzo, a guy who joined the team, I believe, as a 7th round pick from last year's draft. And in the preseason, before getting injured, he proved to be a good blocker. He proved to have some pretty decent hands, so he could be a guy that potentially makes the roster. And then you have Steven Anderson, who really is more of a wide receiver, a bigger wide receiver. He is not really a tight end. He's tried to pack on some muscle, but we've heard the same thing about him in the past, and it hasn't really stuck. So for me, he isn't someone who I would necessarily want at tight end because, again, he's more of a wide receiver. When Ben Watson comes back, he will unarguably be the Patriots' number 1 tight end. So the Patriots will need to compensate again for that for 40 games, and they will not ride with just one tight end in Matt LaCosse. I can guarantee you that. The Pats are going to need a few different tight ends, especially if they cannot find one who is very diverse in both blocking and receiving. And there isn't too many guys free agency wise. Now there is, of course, still some guys they can bring in. I've mentioned a couple of guys. You guys have mentioned a couple of guys. But I think really the big thing that the Patriots seen at this point, looking at who they have free agency wise, is that the Patriots are really trying to make a trade. We all know they tried to trade for Michael Roberts. That fell through. So where do the Patriots go to now? Brady loves his big tight ends, whether that's them playing on the outside, them playing on the inside, but just a big guy he can rely on and dump it off to. But it's also important for pass protection. If the Patriots cannot find a guy to do that, then they're really screwed in multiple different sections in the offense, which is going to hinder them. But that is it for today's video. Those are 3 issues that the Patriots must fix before training camp. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. And also make sure you guys like and subscribe, as it helps me, the channel, and even you guys out very, very, very much. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows when the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.
In Astroworld.